Hey everyone, are you excited that it's Monday? I know not everyone is, but I am super pumped that it's Monday because that means on Wednesday we are hosting our free masterclass, the Powerhouse Presence Playbook, and I hope that you are attending. But if not, I just wanted to dive in a little bit on what we're going to be covering during the masterclass. And for some of you, then you'll receive some additional materials and resources and a bunch of other goodies that are going to help set you up for success in this year so that you can really create transformation in your leadership, your business, and your life. And so, do you know that presence is probably the number one thing that most executives are needing and looking for when they're trying to really make a greater impact? And not just within their role or with their teams, but because of those bigger goals that most of us have. So, when we reach a certain level of success, what we're looking to do is now go out and find other avenues that we can create even more of an impact, whether that's joining a board, starting a foundation, being on a board for a nonprofit, starting a nonprofit. There's so many avenues that executives are looking into in order to increase their visibility and to increase their impact. And so for anybody who is considering, what is it that I can do to start really elevating my presence? Then here's a few tips that I want you to consider and really think about, because this is what's sometimes that game changer between being a leader that maybe everyone knows to being somebody that everyone looks to and thinks about, which is a very key difference. And I did want to mention that, the three C's, there's this three C's of presence. And really, what are the most often three C's that we probably think of or that we hear about? Commanding, critical or critiquing, um, conquering. Those aren't the three C's. And yet, for some reason, so many leaders start behaving in a manner that isn't helpful to their end game, their impact, what it is that they're trying to create, their legacy. And when I'm working with leaders, these are the things that we're talking about, because we can rip down those barriers, those walls that we sometimes start putting up, thinking that this is what we need in order to have greater presence and executive presence and gravitas and all of the things that we're looking for, so that when I walk into an executive meeting, then people will listen to me. But there's so many other little techniques that we can use in communication that are subtle and can help us. And so I put together a workbook that if you attend the masterclass that you'll receive. It's called the Leadership Presence Formula. And so the three C's are clarity. You need to have clarity in your message. You have to have clarity in what it is that you're wanting to create, what it is that you're there to deliver and talk about, and helping other people to have that clarity. I posted earlier today, what's one of the things that we can do to have clarity is ask questions. So many leaders don't want to ask questions because they are assuming that they're supposed to have all of the answers. And I have a lot of yes leaders who are there, they want to get it done. That's how they've worked their way up within their roles. But that's not how we create clarity. And it's also not how we increase our integrity. So when we can ask more questions and we can start having that clarity, and there's a number of ways that you can do this where it actually makes sense and it doesn't come across like you don't know what you're talking about. Now you're increasing your presence because you're increasing your curiosity. Now, curiosity isn't one of my three C's. However, it is very much a part of having clarity. And so when we have clarity about what it is that we're there to do, to talk about, to create progress around and actionable steps moving forward, now we've increased the value of our being there, our presence. Number two is confidence. We have to have confidence, but not the way that sometimes we think about having confidence. And confidence is contagious, but A lot of the leaders that I work with are quiet leaders. They're not loud. And so how do we exude confidence when we're more of a quiet leader? Well, we lean into that natural strength that we have. Sometimes people who talk a lot and fill the air are actually incredibly nervous. And so when we have a quiet confidence and we don't feel the need to fill the whole room, and we can be comfortable with a very long and pregnant pause during a conversation, we have just increased our presence, because our confidence doesn't necessarily come from how many words are coming out of our mouth. Our confidence comes from within, and the ability to exude the fact that we know why we're there. We have the clarity. We know how we can bring value. And we're there to listen, we're there to observe, and we're there to really help guide the conversation. So whether you're in negotiations, strategic planning, whatever that looks like for you, understand that the loudest person in the room isn't the one who has the most confidence. And the person who's asking the questions are commanding the room. And the third C is connection. As leaders, if we are continually thinking about how do we continue to have greater connections, networking, reaching out internally to different stakeholders. What do I mean by stakeholders? I don't mean just people who are on the board. I mean people that are underneath us, who are lateral to us, who are on different teams and above us. And we have to get very comfortable and really good at making greater connections and building and establishing rapport, that we are eliciting greater feedback. We're showing that we have a care about what it is that they need, what it is they're looking for, and we can start to include them into some of the decision making that's happening, so that we know that we're moving in the right direction. So connections can happen both externally and internally. But the greater that your network is, the greater ability to create that impact that you're looking to do as a leader. So if you can always go back and think about what those 3 C's are, whether it's clarity, confidence, or connection, and you can ask yourself, how am I doing in any one of these areas? Another thing that I sometimes send out to clients is called authority, presence, and impact. And so if you can start to gauge, where is your sense of authority on a certain subject? What is your presence? Again, that's what we're talking about. And your impact. How are you of service? How are you giving back? What's the value that you are contributing at any given time to your role, to your team, to your industry? Now you're making a larger impact and creating greater waves. So that if you're wanting to step up and to step out, now you have a foundation to do so. This is what makes people truly memorable. This is what makes the difference between leaders that you can look back and think, that person was fantastic. They inspired me so much. And I know that we're not inspired when people are beating down on us, or they're observing or trying to embody other quote unquote leadership traits. So if you can be the person to step into your greater presence, your authenticity, the natural strengths that you bring, and have confidence in that, that will boost your presence 100%. All right. I really hope that you will join me this coming Wednesday, where we're going to be talking about how you can be a powerhouse. Again, a powerhouse doesn't necessarily mean loud. A powerhouse is knowing within what it is that they bring, and that's what comes forth. So if you are ready to know how to step into being a powerhouse in your leadership, in your business, then I'd love for you to join me on Wednesday. It's going to be at 11 Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to really dive into quite a bit. So something I haven't done before, where we're going to have 3 hours together in this masterclass, where we're going to be diving into the 5 A's of the Amplify framework, this 3 C's of presence, or the leadership presence formula, along with a lot of other ideas in terms of how you can increase your visibility and really go out and do those bigger things that you've been looking to do within your life. All right, I hope to see you there. And until then, I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your week.